Good day, my little robins. It's me, Beth. Another week has passed, which means you get another video from, well, me here on this channel. If you haven't already read the title, today I'm going to be bringing you guys my top albums of 2019. I have previously released my top gigs of the year, and well, you know, these videos are pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to do a rundown of my top albums of the year. I'm going to throw in like a few honourable mentions towards the end. Before we begin, if you want to support me and the channel, you can by clicking a like to show me some love. You can click subscribe and tap that bell to be notified of when I upload on this channel. Enough rambling, let's just dive into some good albums of 2019. The first album I want to talk about is The Eighth Mountain by Italian power metal band Rhapsody of Fire. I love me some good power metal here on this channel, you know, just watch some of my reactions and some of my reviews. I actually reacted to Reign of Fury earlier in the year, and I think I gave it a pretty high rating, and I was like, damn, this band know what they're doing. This is their 12th studio album, so you know, they've been around the scene a while, they know what they're doing, and if you want like a feel-good, like uplifting power metal album, I highly recommend Rhapsody of Fire. Next up we have Hail Stand by American progressive metal band Periphery. Now, Periphery are a band I only recently got into, you know, the past couple of years. I didn't see this album tour, I saw the last album tour, and it really, you know, got me into this band. And so when they released this album, I was like, you know what, I'm going to pick it up, I'm going to give it a chance, and holy hell, it's probably the best Periphery album, personally, for me, I have listened to. I'm pretty new to the band, so, you know, I have listened to previous albums, but there was something about Hail Stand that kind of, you know, related more to me. I liked everything about it. The vocals, like the instruments, the breakdowns. I was not expecting, you know, this album to, you know, kind of resonate with me quite a lot this year, because there have been some great albums and some great, like, music that's come out, but Hail Stand, yeah, I don't really know what else to say about this other than, if you like Periphery and you haven't listened to this, what the hell are you doing? Go and listen to it. And if you want to give Periphery a chance, then I highly recommend you start with their most recent album. Up next we have a Tagnatas, sorry if I butchered that name, by Swiss folk metal band Elvete. I know I just said Swish instead of Swiss. This band, they've got a name I can't pronounce. I can't also, you know, pronounce the album name, and apparently I can't even name the country of origin of this band. But this album, holy hell, do they know what they're doing. I'm not a big folk metal fan. I think this is probably one of the only handful, I would say I listened to this and maybe like another folk metal band, but here's the thing, when I try and explain that this is folk metal to people, they go, so it's not good. And then I saw these guys live for, you know, opening for Lacuna Coil, and I was like, for any of the doubters out there, folk metal, give it a chance, you know. They have like the growls for like the really like strong male vocalists, and then they have like the really soft ethereal, you know, female vocals. And you know, they've got the guitars, they've got the drums, it's really heavy. And then they throw in, you know, harp solos and like flute solos. There's a violin player who gets a solo. And it's all these elements, like this ragtag bunch of elements that come together to make this album what it is, make this band what it is. There was no way this wasn't going to make it onto my list. And again, like with when I just said about Thy Art Is Murder, people were like, either I've never heard of this band, or why the hell are you putting a folk metal band up there? You don't strike me as someone who likes folk metal, Beth. Well, this band changed my mind. This album changed my mind. Give it a listen. Well, you might regret it, but I didn't regret it. Next up we have I the Mask by In Flames. These guys are titans of, you know, the scene. They have been around a long, long time, and each album they release, you know, seems to divide fans like very down the middle. They kind of like went away from like the early years of like their heavy roots, like melodic death metal in the early years, and then like mid-2000s they kind of changed their sound to be kind of, to a degree, less melodic, and then each album after that has either been melodic or a little bit softer. And I the Mask, for me, as a fan who got into them, you know, mid-2000s, but has gone back and listened to their back catalogue, I would say that out of the albums in like the last few recent years, The Mask actually kind of elevates this band kind of back to like their melodic death metal roots. Yes, there are some catchy choruses and like some catchy like riffs and breakdowns that, you know what, could be very mainstream, could get these guys a lot more attention. But then you take the vocals, like the lyrics and like the style of some of the songs, and you're like, yes, I can hear the melodic, and I love it. For me, this is an album that, if I had to say, personally for me, I'm a massive In Flames fan. Every time they release something, I'm going to listen to it. But maybe if you're a fan of the band who kind of fell out of love, you know, mid-2000s, and having given them a chance since, The Mask could be the perfect, you know, like reintroduction back to the band. Up next we have Wanderers by Austrian power metal / symphonic metal band Visions of Atlantis, and oh my god, this was a surprise hit not just for me, but everyone in the power symphonic community when it came out mid-year. This is the first album where we see, you know, Mikkel's vocals. He is from the band Temperance. Mix really well with Clementine. She was on the previous album and their EP, but this is the first time we get Clementine and, you know, Mikkel showing that their voices together are an explosion of goodness. It warms my soul. This band has been plagued over the years by many vocalist-like changes and many lineup changes, but I really think that, you know, Mikkel, Clementine and the band as they are now, this is the future of Visions of Atlantis, and if they continue down this route with this like lineup, I can see them getting like a lot of hype and definitely a lot more attention. Yes, they are a band that kind of stick, you know, to like one fantasy theme, and they kind of milk it for everything, you know, everything it's got, and they're doing quite well. There are a lot of songs on this album that really like change the pace. There are a couple of like slow kind of like romantic numbers about, you know, two lovers. I've reacted to three songs off this album on the channel, and I loved each one of them. But don't be fooled by when you hear power symphonic metal thinking, oh, it's going to be slow all the way through. Towards the middle and towards the end, there are songs that came completely out of like left field and kind of like turned the album on its head. It looks pretty, it sounds pretty, there are some really pretty songs on it, but then it takes a twist and you kind of go down a different route and you go, okay, this band has potential, this band has layers. I saw these guys open for Camelot earlier in the year and they got the crowd going. If you can get the crowd going, you know, it's an automatic win. I just can't wait, you know, to see what these guys do next, and I really hope they do a solo tour for this album in the UK because I really want to see them live as a headline. Before we get onto the honourable mentions, I cannot not mention No More Hollywood Endings by Battlebeast. This is a very divisive album, you know, between fans, and I did not know this when I reacted to, you know, a couple of the songs earlier in the year. It wasn't until I read the comments that they were like, you actually liked this album? It's not a good album. And I'm like, well, I've listened to this album, I have listened to their past two albums in full, and yes, there are some stark differences. You know, they are it's heavy metal with elements of power metal, which I love because they are two subgenres that I think go hand in hand together. And you know what, I don't care if people don't like this band or like their change of style or pace. It's good. And this is my personal top 10. It might not make it into your list, but it made it into mine. Oh, this song is like an emotional roller coaster. It takes you on a journey. There are some really like hard hitting, like pounding, I would say like heavy metal numbers that, you know, I could see them easily being performed live. And then you've got some of like the lighter, I say lighter, like power metal songs. There's even like a couple of ballads on here, which I was not expecting from this band. And I liked it. So for all of you guys who are out there saying this was a bad album, I like it. Battlebeast, if any of you are watching this, keep doing what you're doing. You know you've got yourself a fan. I have 3 honourable mentions. The first one is Velino or Veleno by Flesh God Apocalypse, Moonglow by Avantasia or Avantasia, I always get that name wrong, and the last honourable mention is The Spell by Cellar Darling. And my number 1 album of 2019 goes to Black Anima by Lacuna Coil. Italian gothic metal, like overlords. Lacuna Coil have been around a very long time, and for me, Black Anima is definitely a throwback to, you know, the heavier sound of Lacuna Coil. I have ranked all their albums pre this album coming out, and over like the last few years, they've released albums that have kind of been on the gothic scale, but haven't really been on like the heavy end. And then when they released like Layers of Time followed by Reckless, I just sat there like, holy hell, Lacuna Coil is back. I reacted to both those songs on the channel. It got me really hyped for this album. You probably can't see, now I've got my Ice Nine Kills hoodie covering it, but I saw Lacuna Coil's Black Anima tour, and the hoodie is actually behind the Ice Nine Kills one, which I was wearing earlier, so I can't really show it off, but Lacuna Coil, they just came out fighting, and when I heard, like I said, when I heard like Layers of Time and Reckless, I was a bit like, okay, I can get into this. And then they released the album, and I was like, there's not a bad song on this album. They have definitely like refined their style and like musicality over the years, and maybe like some of the other bands on the list, I would say kind of to a degree Motionless in White, who took notes from all their previous albums and found the perfect mixture to get like the perfect sound. This album, Black Anima, to me sounds like Lacuna Coil, and I highly recommend you check it out. If you haven't listened to Lacuna Coil in the past, this is definitely a great jumping off point. You can also check out my video where I ranked all the albums from, you know, least favourite to favourite. Probably if I went back and redid that list, this would be my number 1 pick for Lacuna Coil. It's heavy, but then it also has soft moments that, you know, come out of the blue and go, okay, you're not full on intense screaming in my face. I'm so happy. I've been a fan of this band for years, and I'm so happy that I got to put them as like the number 1 spot of my top albums of 2019. In the comments below, I'd love to hear some of your guys' favourite albums of the year, even some of your favourite albums of, you know, the last decade, since 2020 is just around the corner. Yeah, let's just, you know, wrap up this video and get on with our lives. If you want to support me and the channel in the future, you can by clicking like to show me some love. You can click down here to subscribe to the channel because, well, nothing's stopping you, and I do try and upload weekly. You can check out my last 2 videos or playlists right here, depending on what mood I'm in when I am editing this. Like my sign says, keep listening to good music. 2019 has been an amazing year for music, and hopefully 2020 can live up to the hype. I'm Beth. Goodbye.